Real quick, this video is not scripted. It may seem kind of rambly at moments, but there eventually will be a point. One morning, I decided to get breakfast. I didn't have anything at home, but I broke away from my usual routine. Instead of grabbing my phone and my smartwatch, I just grabbed my analog watch, hopped in my car, set the radio station to classical music, and just drove on. And it was weird because for about 15 to 20 minutes, I was just content. Maybe not necessarily the classical definition of happy, but content. I was in the moment. I was just sort of enjoying my own company. And that confused me because the only thing that changed about that particular routine was I didn't have my phone or my smartwatch. And I did some very basic detective work and realized that was the reason. I wasn't connected to social media. I wasn't trying to check my likes on Instagram or check someone else's likes on Instagram or compare my life to someone else's on YouTube. I was just being me. And that led me to think, is social media really that healthy? Now, there are some of you that are thinking I'm about to pull a whole Prince E and rag on social media and how it's disconnected us from the entire human race.
Did you know the average person spends 4 years of his life looking down at his cell phone? Kinda ironic, ain't it?
I'm not gonna do that because, first of all, that'd be kind of hypocritical of me because this is on YouTube, I'm on Twitch. Social media, in my opinion, is not that evil. The problem is we're not consuming it in a healthy way. So what do I mean by that? The first issue is that we gamify people. We take human beings and try to apply numbers to them to judge or validate them. We look at someone on Instagram, for example, and look at the number of followers they have, the number of likes they have, the number of comments. We look at people on YouTube and we see how many subscribers they have, how many comments, what's their like to dislike ratio. We try to apply an intrinsically inhuman thing, numbers, to humans. Admittedly, that is incredibly hypocritical of me to point that out because this video is on YouTube. I would like it to do somewhat well because I'm joining in that rat race. And looking from the outside in, I have friends that are Twitch streamers, YouTubers, and influencers. And it saddens me when they start getting depressed because streams are not getting as many viewers anymore, or a post didn't get as many likes as they wanted, or a YouTube video that took an entire week to make got less than half the views of one that took 45 minutes. So trying to play this number game isn't healthy, but it's not the only problem. The other issue with social media is a lot of them are driven by algorithms. So around 2014, 2015 is when I would guess is a lot of these platforms like YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, they all switched over from chronological order to algorithm. People could no longer make content they liked, they had to make content they liked that fit within that algorithm. So they had to begin putting themselves in this box to fit this mathematical equation running in the background. For example, on YouTube, there used to be a issue with something called reply girls. What they would do is they would wear low-cut clothing, put it in their thumbnail, and they would reply to videos where essentially they just regurgitated what happened in the video, and they would get a lot of views but not a lot of watch time. YouTube, realizing this was a problem, adjusted the algorithm. So instead of focusing on views, the algorithm would recommend videos with high watch time. Which this was a boon for the gaming community because these Let's Plays would have 15, 20, 30, even sometimes an hour-long video. So people like PewDiePie, Markiplier, Jacksepticeye blew up. But this change hurt animators, music content creators, So they either had to change their style, change their passion to adapt to this algorithm, or just leave. On a Philip DeFranco podcast, Dr. Mike pretty much summed it up.
I think that these companies, like for example, they changed the way that your Instagram feed is from chronological to now what they think you like.
Sure.
That's a huge problem. That's a huge problem, not only because the algorithm messes with you and now you feel like your reach was cut, financially becomes a problem. For them, it's great because then it takes away your power and allows them to advertise more. But why it's the biggest problem is it encourages you now to do anything you can to please the algorithm at all costs. Because so that now it's, I got to do something to increase my reach. And once it falls, I have to be desperate.
So now it's this like thing that was supposed to bring humans together, but it's encouraging behavior that's not human.
Yes.
In this constant pursuit to try to appease this algorithm, you're going to try to touch up your photos. You're going to be looking more and more at your insecurities. You're going to be constantly posting to try to keep up and burn yourself out because this algorithm is demanding it of you. Not because you may actually want to, but because in pursuit of validation, you have to appease this algorithm. To appease this algorithm, you have to make content that it can push, it can advertise. Not what you want to do, not what highlights your strengths, what makes you feel good, but what can feed essentially these giant advertising machines. So I want to back up again and just say that as a concept, social media is not bad or evil. It can do amazing things. It can overturn tyrannical governments. It can help educate people with ideas that oppose their own. It allows people all over the world to help contribute to different causes. However, the way it is now is toxic, especially with the way it pushes unrealistic body images and lifestyles, the way it tries to make people gain validation through likes and retweets, and the way it allows people to confirm their own biases and not really offer a way to challenge them due to the algorithms themselves. So some of you are probably thinking this is some weird boomer generation anti-social media rant, and you're probably not entirely wrong, but let me throw a statistic at you. Depression is on the rise, and over the past decade, the suicide rates have gone up in teens 56%. To be fair, social media is not the cause of all of that, but it's a major contributor. On top of the other factors of algorithms and numbers, another issue social media has brought up is the fact that bullying doesn't just stop at school or at work anymore. It can travel home with you. Another issue on top of everything else that we've brought up on this channel plenty of times is cancel culture. In some weird attempt to try to bring about public justice, we tear people down without getting all the information, all the facts, or even just trying to understand the nuance of the situation. John Ronson, during a TED Talk, had the perfect anecdote for cancel culture.
A 47-year-old Israeli government clerk called Ariel Runis was accused of racism. A black woman had been trying to renew her passport at his office in Tel Aviv. She later reported on her Facebook page that a female official had refused to allow her to use a special fast lane for people with babies. White people were being allowed to use the lane, but not her. So she complained to the office manager, Ariel Runis, who rudely brushed her off. Her Facebook post was shared 7,000 times. In response, Ariel Runis wrote his own Facebook post. Up until 2 days ago, my life looked rosy, but each Facebook share is a sharpened arrow driven into my flesh. All my life's work has at once vanished with a thrust of a word, disappeared. For years I have worked to make a name for myself, a name now synonymous with the vilest of terms, racism. This will be my fate from now on. He posted his message, then he put a gun to his head. His body was found a few hours later. And then the next morning, the woman who made the original complaint wrote on her Facebook page, "This morning I awoke to some of the worst news I have ever heard. I am sorry with my entire soul for the loss of a life. For years I experienced discrimination in Israel. The only time I told my story, a man was hurt. No one is more sorry than I am. If I could, I would keep silent this time too. And then the journalist from an Israeli paper writing about the incident wrote, the aftermath was disappointing. Instead of taking a sober moment to contemplate the seriousness of internet shaming, the powerful weapon was turned like a boomerang on the woman who had posted the complaints in the first place.
What is the point of me saying any of this? Because again, intrinsically, I don't think social media is evil or bad. I guess what I want the takeaway from this to be is that social media is like liquor or weed or cigarettes, video games, what have you. It can be consumed in a very healthy way, but we aren't consuming it in a very healthy way. We need to be better at just disconnecting every once in a while. I'm not saying throw your phone in a lake. I'm just saying if you're out in nature or you're enjoying family, this is aimed at myself too, maybe just put the phone away for a few minutes. Don't worry about your likes or your retweets. Just every once in a while, focus on being in the moment. Your phone can wait.